Alright guys, so as you can see, the 829 update details are here, aka the X-Force Volume 2 update, which is bringing in a brand new transcended skill for Domino, which will be including Warpath. Definitely wasn't expecting this one. Thought we'd be seeing a Phantom X included instead of Warpath, so that's a surprise. And in addition to that, we have Omega Red coming in as a new character that you can get for free for a limited time. After that, he's going to be a premium character, so keep that in mind. However, there is bad news regarding Omega Red. He is going to be trapped at tier 2. He's not getting a tier 3 initially, so hopefully mid-month, no longer than that, because it's really stupid to bring in tier 2 characters. However, they're doing something to Shadowland, so stay tuned for that. Strife is here with tier 3, Cable is here with tier 4. There's also going to be various improvements such as new normal comic cards and additional pierce damage increase as an option has been made. Omega Red, like I said, is going to be an X-Gene character that you can get from the shop early, or in the mid-month themed update celebration event. You'll be able to get a couple biometrics for him, and then after that you use a 6-star mega rank up ticket on him, followed by a mega tier 2 ticket. So let's take a look at this man's kit. So all allies get 6% all speed, which is trash. Aside from that, he gives himself 30% physical attack. He has a really good 4-star passive, which heals him and gives him super armor plus defense, so that's very good. His tier 2 passive, 35% more HP, skill damage and bonus damage 40-30 plus 20% damage reduction. So as you look at this, you can see he's a very selfish character. He's not offering any kind of support passive to anyone. Means he's just a DPSing character. You look at his kit, realistically, besides his 4-star passive, there's not much here for PvP. There's no iframe ignore, there is no counter attack, there is nothing. However, he does have a pretty good kit, even if he's being trapped at tier 2. So 15% heal on his first skill, it's not enough for me. Now he does have native healing plus a good HP pool, but 15% healing kind of sucks. He has barrier there, he has paralysis, he has burn, stun, damage accumulation with damage immunity for 3 seconds. 3 seconds of damage immunity is just very low, one of the lowest amounts of damage immunity in the game. 50% all attack is pretty good. He has defense down for what it's worth. He has invincibility. He has a frenzy buff here with all attack, defense and critical rate. Low cooldown times on his skills, so he looks like he'll be proc friendly if you have a couple skills that you can cancel. Overall, I would say his kit looks good, but if he's not getting tier 3 at the very least, that's a yikes. And because he has nothing in here designed for PvP like counter attack and whatnot, I am disappointed.
This person doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
So jumping into the new uniforms, we have Cable in his Heart of Darkness uniform. This uniform bonus is actually really good. He has 20% critical rate, 30% critical damage, and 35% chain hit damage. And even if this get removed by an effect like the Purifying Wind, it will immediately reactivate after 1 second. So this is amazing. Moving on, we have Future Salvation, or his tier 3 skill, and this thing should hit a lot harder now because they're increasing damage proc from 45% to 80%, so almost a full doubling of the proc. His 4-star passive is staying exactly the same, and his tier 2 passive, they're increasing the skill damage from 15% to 25%, and the bonus damage is remaining the same. Moving on to his active skills, he has silence and paralysis. Third skill has paralysis with a heal, and they're bumping up the damage accumulation from 0.7 to 1%, so that's really good. The heal is still way too small for my liking.
Blasphemy! This is madness!
Moving on, we have a frenzy buff here, 60% all attack and defense, 35% critical rate, so he's gonna have way more critical rate than he needs. We have burn and paralysis, so he's pretty much set up for ABX in all the seasons. And then for his 5th skill, we also have burn here again. So I'm looking at this, I don't see any fracture, I don't see any shock, I don't see any of the ABL effects, but I see all of the ABX effects. We have sneer, paralysis, silence, all of that stuff, burn. So it looks like he might be your go-to for ABX, even with Magneto if he's hitting hard enough anyways, but it looks like he might not be the guy for ABL at all. Moving on, we have Strife, and his original leadership has become his new uniform bonus, and in return he's now offering all allies, heroes and villains, 50% extra defense. It would have been cool if it's attack and defense, but defense, I guess it matters a little bit in PvP PvP. Moving on to his tier 2 passive, they're increasing the basic defense here from 5% to 15%, and they're increasing the skill damage from 32% to 50%, and the bonus damage is being increased from 15 to 30. So you should see an overall increase in his DPS and his survivability. Looking forward to seeing if he's actually interesting now for PvE content, but for sure he was designed and is designed and always been designed for PvP, and you're seeing it right now in his kit with the counter attack and iframe ignore skill, 30% heal for the first time, 1.2% for the damage accumulation. That's very good. Stun, fracture, we have incapacitation with sneer and stun. On the second skill we have shock, fracture, incapacitation, and his third skill they're making it so that he can keep his damage accumulation up all the time. They made it 2 seconds shorter than with cable.
Someone cooked here.
And then for his fourth skill, we have shock, silence, incapacitation, a 50% frenzy buff. And then for his fifth skill, we have silence, fracture, we have invincibility, a 100% proc. So it looks like you proc on his fifth skill if you're going to use him for PvE content. Next up, we have Domino, and Domino is actually a lot more interesting than I thought they would make her. However, they didn't go the route that most people, myself included, would have wanted. But check this out. So increases all attack by 35%, chain hit damage by 15%, and 30% chance to increase her critical damage by 100% on critical strikes. So that's pretty good, especially since Domino's always had a lot of critical damage built into her kit. I'm curious to see if she is actually a force to be reckoned with in PvP, because they're making her a PvP character. So here's the thing. For herself, 20% dodge plus immunity to guard break and a 30% damage reduction. What they should have done was made this apply to all speed allies. If they did that, immediately people would be looking at this, because immunity to guard break is there. Why did you guys make it so it only applies to her? Stupid. Oh my gosh, you guys are so dumb. Third skill is where it gets interesting. As you can see, we have a counter attack here with paralysis and a 40% chance to penetrate everything for 7 seconds, which is huge. The third skill also now offers damage accumulation, but it's damage accumulation based on damage taken, which is not what you want to see on a speed character, because speed characters usually have the lowest defenses and HP. But since she's getting damage reduction as a part of her passive, she might be able to take a couple hits. She also has reflect, so keep that in mind. This third skill is very much so stacked, so Domino could be a force to be reckoned with. We'll have to wait and see. 20% recovery, 50% on the frenzy buff here, 50% attack, 30% critical rate. She has invincibility for 3 seconds, a 100% proc, burn, and stun. So overall, definitely looks interesting. If she's either able to one-shot by countering and killing you, or one-shot based off the reflect, then people might actually use Domino. Moving on to Cable's tier 4 skill. As you can see right here, recharges the tier 3 skill gauge by 15%. Keep in mind that the tier 4 lasts for 10 seconds. So that means you're going to be able to get in theory, a full tier 3.5 from Cable's tier 4 skill being active, because it says here acquires the following effect for 10 seconds. So this in itself tells us that the tier 4 is going to last for at least 10 seconds. You're going to get an increase to your basic attack starting at 20%, going all the way up to 80%. Not that great, truthfully speaking, but this is what intrigues me, because you're going to get a whole tier 3.5 from just having your tier 4 active. So that's going to be interesting in terms of how much damage you can put out with the extra attack plus the extra tier 3 that you get. So we have stun, fracture, incapacitation, 80% ignore, dodge, invincibility, and a 50% attack proc on Strife for his tier 3. His tier 3 just looks, it looks cool, but it looks like I've seen it multiple times before. Just looks like Thanos, you know, summoning a meteor to try and kill Iron Man. Moving on, we have the awakened skill for Domino and Warpath. Looks pretty generic in terms of the buffs, and in terms of the animation, looks like I've seen it before. Moving on, this is the interesting thing now. So now we have auto progress for Shadowland. This is huge. So auto progress has been added for the first 15 floors. Honestly, I don't understand why only 15, because that's nothing when you think about the fact that every week people push all the way up to 260 plus. So here's the thing, you can either auto progress for free using clear tickets, or if you have the shield support, you can use a batch clear feature and clear all the way up to stage 25 instantly, kind of like using clear tickets. Makes me wonder why they felt the need to stop at 25. Truthfully speaking, why not all the way up to stage 35? In addition to that, we now have the Shadowland shop, and the Shadowland shop CTPs, Odin's blessings, and tier 3/tier 4 materials. Truthfully speaking, they needed to include other items here as well, but it's a good start. I think they should have added Life Seed and Soul of the Faltine here as well. Also, this is a lot of tokens that you need for very little carbonadium. However, when you consider the fact that you have to pay 11,000 Shadowland token for a random CTP that could be a CTP of Patience or Transcendence, it's not looking as bad. Truthfully, this should be a select. Now, one great change that they made to Shadowland in this update, which is amazing for free to play, is that you can now auto play without having to purchase the shield support. So previously, to get this auto play feature, you had to buy the shield support. They're changing this now to the benefit that you get from the shield support is just being able to batch clear the first 25 stages. Maybe they should have made it the first 35 stages, not to piss off the whales, but it's fine. The free to players are getting a big W here because now they can just auto play all of Shadowland and their characters will use the skills. So another improvement we're getting is when you jump into GBR, you can set it so that your boost point count is always at the max that it can be, to make sure that you never accidentally play Giant Boss Raid without using boost points. I think this is a good change personally, because I've had times when I pop in just to do a quick GBR run and I completely forget. It doesn't happen very often, but I completely forget to use boost points, and then I have to run it again with boost points, and that could have saved me a couple minutes of my time. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we have another quality of life change here for story mode this time. This one basically just adds a feature to allow you to start from stage 1 every time, which is really good because whenever you do your story mode for the day and there's a daily reset, usually you have to go and put yourself all the way back at stage 1 before you start. So if there was a daily reset right now, I would come in and it would look like this, and if I started to run auto progress, basically it would start me from where I am right now instead of putting me back at stage 1 to then clear it all again for the day. So it's pretty cool that they're adding this feature here. It saves you a couple seconds. It's nothing crazy. Next up, we have a brand new CTP which can also be reforged. I was not expecting this one, but check this out. This one is the new meta for pretty much all things PvP. It is called the CTP of Conquest. It comes with immunity to guard break, recovery rate, and it gives you the ability to recover 10% of your HP and increases your max HP by 20%. This is the base. Plus, it also decreases damage received by 80%, reduces the damage decrease by 3% with each hit up to 60%, has a 11-second cooldown time, and this is just a normal CTP, not reforge. Once you reforge it, you get the clash option, and it increases the basic damage by 60% and an additional 50% of concentration based on the number of enemies, up to 3 enemies for 5 seconds, or you can get all attack. This is crazy, bruv. This CTP is actually kind of nuts. The base effect without being reforged is insane, but then you can increase your basic damage by up to 90%, bro, based on the amount of enemies on the field. So I'm not too sure if this means that if there's 1 enemy on the field, it increases your basic damage by 1/3 of this, or if it triples this number based on the amount of enemies on the field. So like, let's say this is just a generic 90% if there's 1 enemy on the field, and if there's 3 enemies, well, your damage increases to 270%. That's madness, because this is not all attack, this is basic damage. So this is just damage dealt being increased. This is insane, bro. Next up, we have new comic cards and a new comic card collection. We have a 5-piece comic card set that can give you additional pierce and all attack. However, these cards can only be acquired in the store. The first 2 options on this Doctor Strange, the old card, is energy attack and additional pierce. This is huge. I still wouldn't recommend people gamble for this, but if you're gambling for cards, you will eventually get these, so do keep that in mind. I don't really gamble for cards that often, so I guess I'll pick these up eventually on my main account. And truthfully speaking, as a free-to-play player, it's not like you need these, but if you're trying to get a specific card, you might end up with a couple of these and they might fill a role in your card set for a while. So So anyways, as you can see, energy attack and additional pierce, fixed stats, then you get attack speed, cooldown, max HP, ignore defense, or fire resist. So 3 good options here. For the 4th star, we have a dodge, defense, movement speed, and a 5% chance to give you 20% more defense. Truthfully speaking, very good. Having to choose between physical and energy attack on the 5th option here is not that great, but it's good that it's there. Then we have critical rate and critical damage for the 6th option. So the entire card is actually really good. Next up, we have physical attack and 1% pierce. So these 2 cards actually complement each other quite nicely. We got critical rate and critical damage here. We got cooldown again, ignore defense, that's good. Energy attack, this time here you don't have to choose between energy and physical, so obviously on this card you go for physical, this one you go for energy, and then it will balance each other. And then for the 6-star option here, you have defense, attack, and max HP. That's pretty good. You can choose whichever one you want based on if you're a PvP or PvE focused player. So this one is starting off with max HP. Yeah, these cards are actually very well designed. I would say for these cards, they put a lot more thought into giving you a very balanced set, comparatively speaking to some of the other ones that just seemed very random when they came out. Salute to the devs for actually doing this, because I was not expecting to see new normal comic cards offering pierce, and truthfully speaking, all of them are offering you the stats that matter. Now let's see what we have for the artifacts. So increases basic damage by 2% per critical rate regardless of guaranteed critical rate. So this was definitely designed in a unique way for Cable because he has a lot of critical rate in his kit. Strife's definitely was taken from item Warlock. Omega Red's artifact is decent, nothing great. Domino's artifact looks like it's a blend between Spider-Man and Deadpool, where she can remove debuffs from herself and has the 20% chance to dodge all attacks. However, it is only for 15 seconds with a 25-second cooldown, so it's going to be a 10-second gap. As for Warpath, he increases the basic damage dealt to enemies with 50% HP or higher by 25%. We've seen this multiple times before. Moving on to the seasons past. So Cable and Domino's icon look pretty good, but I don't think I'm gonna be buying this thing just to get them. Warpath looks really bad. I think this is the one they're gonna give away from Otherworld Battle. Omega Red actually looks pretty good, so this is probably the one that's gonna come from the token shop. I definitely will not be buying that one or getting that over getting a premium item. So okay, so they've made some changes so you can give more stuff to your alliance members. Not necessarily more stuff in the sense of different items, just more as in the quantity. Okay, so here's the thing. This is a big feature that they should add everywhere in the game, but they probably should make it a little bit cheaper though. But agents can now acquire a trial uniform for 50% discount. However, it's only in the guided quests, which is kind of dumb. I think they should add this everywhere in the game, but they should make it like a 90% discount, truthfully speaking. So give you like, I don't know, a week to play with a uniform if you pay 10% of what the uniform actually costs. So instead of 1050, you just pay 100 crystals and you can try the uniform out for a couple of days, see if you like it, if you don't like it, and then if you do like it, you can pay the other 90%, or you can pay the full price to get it. If not, the uniform is then taken from you after a week. Now, one last thing I want to touch on before I go is the fact that they had a change here for Kang the Conqueror, where his leadership was being applied to all allies, and they made it so that he's just being applied to himself. And what I'm talking about is 55% all attack that was being applied to all allies instead of just himself. And the fact that these guys went and changed it back to just being able to apply to himself and did nothing else for him is actually quite shocking to me. So this is what I'm talking about right here. So the debuff removal is supposed to apply to all allies, but the attack portion is only supposed to apply to himself. There's certain people in the game right now where they have this set the other way, or they have it so both of them are being applied to all allies. That's not what it's supposed to be. What I have right here is what it's supposed to be. However, truthfully speaking, Kang the Conqueror is a massive disappointment, and the fact that we are still 2 weeks after this man's release and they've done nothing to improve him is quite shocking. So if you do not have Kang the Conqueror built, you don't need to build him, because truthfully speaking, outside of Otherworld Arena, he ain't doing shit. I'll catch you guys in the next one.